I refused to put a political sign in my yard for my in-laws, and it caused a huge family fight. My father-in-law Mike is obsessed with politics. Like, it's literally his entire personality. He has signs covering his lawn, bumper stickers all over his truck, and wears these political t-shirts everywhere he goes. He actually told me once that he enjoys making people angry with his signs because he thinks it changes their minds somehow, which makes zero sense, but whatever. Last week, Mike called my husband asking if we'd put his friend's campaign sign in our front yard. Just a small one, he said, to show support for the community. My husband Chris said yes without even asking me first. He didn't think it was a big deal. But when he told me about it later that night, I immediately said no. Chris looked at me like I was crazy. He asked what the problem was since we lived in a safe neighborhood. That's when I had to explain why I'm terrified of advertising politics. Back in 2020, I bought this COVID mask with my candidate's name on it. I thought it was harmless, just showing support while staying safe. I wore it exactly once to the grocery store. This guy followed me through 3 aisles making comments under his breath. Then in the parking lot, he got right in my face screaming about how people like me were ruining the country. I was shaking so bad I could barely get my keys in the car door. I threw that mask away as soon as I got home. But it gets worse. My Uncle Dave got attacked 2 years ago for expressing his political opinion at a bar. Some guy didn't like what he said and waited in the parking lot for him. Dave ended up in the hospital with a broken jaw and 3 cracked ribs. He almost died. When I told Chris all this, he said I was being paranoid. He said his dad would be offended if we said no, and that it was just one small sign. I told him I didn't care, that our safety was more important than his dad's feelings. We went back and forth for an hour. Finally, I thought we'd agreed to tell Mike no. But the next day I came home from work and there was a huge political sign planted right in the middle of our front yard. Not even a small one like Mike had said. This thing was massive, like 4 feet tall. Chris was in the garage acting like everything was normal. I asked him what the hell that sign was doing in our yard. He said his dad had dropped it off and that he felt too guilty to say no. I was furious. I told him to call Mike right now and tell him to come get it. Chris said we should just leave it up for a few weeks, that it wasn't worth the drama. But I marched outside and yanked that sign right out of the ground myself. The metal stake bent because I pulled it so hard. I dragged it to our garage and threw it behind some boxes. Chris just stood there watching me with his mouth open. 2 hours later, Mike showed up at our door. Chris must have told him what happened because Mike was already angry when I answered. He started going off about how disrespectful I was being, how this was about supporting the community, how I was being selfish. I let him rant for a minute, then I told him about my Uncle Dave, about the mask incident, about how I refused to make myself a target just to make him happy. Mike actually laughed. He said I was being dramatic and that those were isolated incidents. That's when I snapped. I told him he admitted he put signs up specifically to make people angry. So why would I want to attract angry people to my house? Mike's face turned red. He said if we weren't going to support his values, then maybe we shouldn't come to family dinners anymore. I looked him dead in the eye and said fine. He stormed off and Chris has barely talked to me since. His mom keeps calling asking me to apologize, but I'm not backing down on this.